Hey everyone, KitaSean here, so welcome back to another Fate Grand Order video. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the 4-star Moon Cancer, Tenochtitlan. I can't pronounce her name, so I'm just going to go ahead and call her Taluk because it's just so much easier. She's actually my favorite design servant for this summer event. I love this bikini here. I love the one-piece dress. I'm a sucker for these. And I love the bunny outfit that she has as well. Very, very nice, very fetishy in a way, I guess you can say. And her ascension, her final ascension, are just mwah. So yeah, very popular servant, very amazing designs, and I think a lot of FGO fans are very happy that she is in the game as a swimsuit servant. Now let's go ahead and look at her stats, her skills, her MP, and then of course at the end I'll talk about if I like her or not as a playable servant, and we'll also talk about what team setups are probably good for her. And honestly, one of her skills basically tells us what team setup we should put her in already, so we'll talk about that in a bit here. But looking at her attack and HP, 12,753, 18,124. The star absorption is 48, generation is 15, the MP charge on attack is 0.58, and then she also is lawful good, and her deck is double quick, double buster, and 1 arts. All of those are 4 hits, and then the extra is 5 hits, which is actually not too bad. Now, looking at her skills here, so she is a support Moon Cancer, which is actually really nice. Of course, again, I've said this before, I don't believe Moon Cancer, the class, is that great of a class when it comes to like attacking, but I mean, we do have some servants that are really good when it comes to the attacking part, especially with the new pen skills. But she is a support type, charges party's MP gauge by 20%, recovers party's HP every turn for 3 turns, which is from 500 to 1000, increase party's attack for 3 turns 10 to 20%, and then the demerit, 500% chance to increase all enemies attack by 10% for 3 turns. So obviously that's not something that you want to do. You don't want that. You don't want the enemies to survive when you use this skill, so this is obviously a skill that you're going to use, and you're going to want to kill that enemy or that wave of enemies before they can do any damage to your servant. If they survive, I don't know why I pronounced it that way, but if they do survive, the enemies do survive, you can use her second skill to tank it. So yeah, she is a support tank Moon Cancer, which is very interesting because we don't really have that when it comes to Moon Cancers. So 500% chance to draw attention to all enemies to self by 300% for 3 turns, and then increase own defense for 3 turns 30 to 50%, and then grant self buff on defense buff for 3 turns, and this increases own MP damage by 10% for 3 turns when taking the attack. So as long as you keep taking damage, she's going to basically do some more damage with her MP, which again we'll get into a bit. But yeah, so you definitely need to get hit. You kind of want to have them survive, the enemy survive, so that she can take on the hits and then, you know, deal damage later with her MP. But at the same time, it's like, why waste your time on those waves when, you know, you can just get rid of them right away, right? But this basically tells you that she can actually be fitted into roles when it comes to challenge quests or boss fights and stuff like that. Now, can she be in a farming party? I mean, I'm sure you can work it out. I haven't tested her out yet because I don't have her, but I think in a way you can figure something out, but I don't think she's meant for that, especially because of the third skill here. So increase own quick performance and buster performance for 3 turns 20 to 30%, grant self evasion for 1 turn, which works very well with her second skill, obviously, because, you know, the tank role. And then this is where it gets interesting. Increase the critical damage of bunny servant allies for 3 turns 20 to 30%, and reduce the skill cooldown on bunny servants allies by 1. So she was doing so good. She was going to be, you know, that servant that actually kind of works in any type of party where you want to tank, but now she becomes a servant that is specifically great in a specific type of party. And as you can see, these are the lineups of bunny servants in FGO. Obviously, these are servants that have ascensions or some kind of costume related to the bunny traded. So yeah, you're very limited on who you can pair her up with to get those effects. So yeah, this is something that I'm not too big of a fan of, but at the same time I'm a fan of because it allows you to try out different types of parties. It allows players to be more creative in a way. So yeah, I personally like creativity when it comes to team setups because as you guys know, FGO, very simple gameplay. So to be able to use other servants is actually really cool. So yeah, I'm a fan, but at the same time, obviously this kind of defeats the point where you can use her in every single party. So yeah, this basically limits her where she can go. Now, looking at her passive skills, she actually has some pretty good passives. Increased own arts performance by 12%, so pretty nice. Even though it's only one arts card, that's what kind of sucks. But I mean, that arts card is basically gonna give you a pretty good amount of percentage when it comes to MP gauge. Increased own damage by 100, increased own critical damage by 20% on a waterside battlefield. So she's obviously going to be doing better on waterside battlefields. And then she has this city-state alliance effect, no effect unfortunately. And then she has Capital of the Moon, which increases quick arts and then the critical damage by 5% each, and reduces the party's damage taken by 200 while on the field. So obviously this kind of helps out with the tank role as well. Now, her Noble Phantasm is a quick AoE, and it ignores invincibility for 1 turn. So obviously not a lot of farming quests have enemies get, you know, invincibility. So she's obviously going to be a servant that's going to be used for like boss fights or challenge or anything story wise. That activates first, obviously, so you can ignore all that. And then she's basically going to be doing more damage towards giant or super large enemies, 150% extra damage to them, and reduces their defense by 20% for 3 turns. That's obviously after the MP hits. And then overcharge effect, increase own MP damage for 1 turn, and that activates first. So now this basically limits her very specifically. Obviously, super large enemies, there are quite a lot of super large enemies in FGO, as you can see here, so many of them. I mean, some of these do appear in farming quests. Obviously, most of these are bosses that you'll see. Some of these will also be in those 90 plus or 90 plus nodes. Obviously, story and then challenge and stuff like that. And then you have very limited amounts of enemy servants that have that trait as well. So yeah, this basically limits her very specifically, which is something that, again, I'm not too big of a fan of. But as you can see, super large enemies and then the bunny trait. So yeah, she is basically going to be limited on what kind of party you can put her in, and then she's also going to be limited on where you can take her with. Obviously, you can take her anywhere. She just does extra damage to the super large enemies, which obviously is not all, it's not something that happens all the time, but you know, if there is a super large enemy, hey, lucky, you get that extra 150% damage, right? But yeah, she basically becomes very limited on where she can go and be put into as a party member. So yeah, personally, I am not too big of a fan of, again, the limitation where she can go, but at the same time, I do like how you can be more creative with this. So I don't think she is a top tier servant, unfortunately. I do think she's maybe like average in a way, at least, especially because of that tank role. You know, tank servants aren't really used a lot right now. Maybe in the future they will be. That's why they're adding a lot of tank characters into FGO, so hopefully we'll see that. But as of right now, I think she is kind of average in a way, especially with her class as well. So but overall, I still think she looks amazing. She's definitely that one servant that I wanted in this entire summer event, so I'm happy that I have her. And yeah, hopefully they kind of help her out here. I think if anything, if they're gonna buff something, it's gotta be either the MP or skill number 1. Like if they're gonna buff skill number 1, they're gonna get rid of this demerit, hopefully. I just don't know exactly what they can do, the buff on these skills. I feel like second skill can stay. I don't think they need to do anything there. Third skill, yeah, I don't think, I honestly don't think they need to do anything here as well. But yeah, I do think if they're going to buffer, it's going to be the first skill and it's going to be the MP. It's one of the two. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Talak here. And let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about her. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.